What's going on? I'm KD. This is my channel. Thanks for joining me. Yo, so I got a thought for you today. I would really want to talk with you about something on this topic. Now, don't get into it too much, but I want to talk with you about it and see what your thoughts are. It's called love. So, on a Facebook post, I reached out to a few different groups, probably 600 to 800 responses, and I asked, what is love? Now, the basic element, the basic idea of love, what is love? So I'm asking you, what is love? Now, I would love your response. Tell me what your thoughts are on what love is. But let me share this thought with you before you do that. Now, so as an analogy, I'm going to use a car. We're all familiar with cars, right? So if we go outside and we look at a car, we can agree that this is a car, okay? Now, how I feel we fail to identify love is using the idea of the reference of a car. If we walk outside and we can look at this automobile and say, hey, this is a car. Usually how we describe love is it has a windshield. It has a trunk. It has seats. It has lights. It has tires. It has a steering wheel. But we never definitively call this a car. And that's usually how we talk about love. We talk about what love does, what love is and has, and the attributes of love descriptively, but we never specifically say love is this. Now, don't get me wrong. You say love is kind, love is blah, blah, but it's not definitive to say this essentially is love at the basic level. You get what I'm saying? We will explain it descriptively about what it does and what it has, this and that, but we never call that thing exactly as it is. Again, the car reference, we can look at this thing and we can collectively identify it and say, this is a car. And from there, we have uses and we could get into the descriptions of it after that. But we have a baseline understanding. We don't do the same thing for love. We fail to collectively identify love as a basic existence and understanding as far as definitions is concerned. But that's a good thing. We all have different interpretations of love and how we feel about that. However, this leads me to this question though. If we have so many interpretations of love, right? So many different interpretations, so many different definitions, and we fail to collectively identify the idea of love, then how do you know when you find it? How do you know that you're giving it? How do you know that you're receiving it? How can you find something that you fail to define? And not only finding it for yourself, but finding it with someone with mutual understanding of that same definition. So back to the car analogy. If I fail to identify this as a car and I say it has a trunk, and I meet somebody and this is my definition to them about what I want. Oh, it has a trunk. This is what I expect. It has a trunk. And they, thinking that it's love, bring me a trunk and I'm upset about it because I'm like, why didn't you give me the whole thing? It's because your interpretation limits them to thinking that your idea of this thing is just exclusive to the trunk. So if we look at love the same way and we're saying, okay, love is this, my interpretation of it. And you meet someone who gives you that description or that understanding of your interpretation of love and you're not happy about it, it's because your definition is off. That's how I feel. I feel like the definition that we have and interpretations that we have for love and our understanding with one another and what love actually is is off. And it leads us to receive parts of love, but not the entire love that we expect because we have for ourselves failed to define it. So I'm asking you, what is love? Now, I just feel like if you can't define it, then how can you therein find it for yourself? Do you know how many words in the English language there are for love? One, just one. So I kind of feel like, man, that's like the short end of the stick because you got one word to express so many different types and levels of love. It's kind of like using a wash rag. Okay, I love my car. You can wash it. I love my kid. Wash your face with that wash rag. Wash your car with that wash rag. I love my wife. I love this job. I love this game. I love all, and you're using this same rag to wash all these things, no matter how important or how playful or, with the same rag. That's how I feel about that. It's one word that you have to use for everything else to express that level of love, even though we don't have the specific terminology we'd like to use, because I'm pretty sure you don't love your child. You don't love your car as much as you love your child, but you only have one word to express that about them both. Other languages have more than one word to express and explain levels of love. You have a friendly love, you have a physical love, you have a familial love. They have an obsessive, a playful. So you have different types of love that express the levels in which you define the love that you're interpreting, that you're giving, that you're expecting. Anyway, get into what I'm saying though, is what is your explanation, your definition of what love is? So I feel like because we fail to collectively identify love and we don't have these conversations enough, then we miss one another in what we expect in love. Because how do you know if you're giving this love correctly? How do you know if you're receiving this love correctly? How do you rebuild and repair this love? How do you grow this love? Now, if I don't know what your definition of love actually is, if you fail to identify it and you can't define it, then how do you expect to receive it? Now, don't get me wrong, we can love one another. But when you're talking to somebody about what you expect from it and how to grow it, how to repair it, how to build it, I feel like because we fail to identify it, because we fail to actually define it for ourselves, then we end up not getting everything we want from love or from other people who want to share love with us. So, I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of relationships break down, but they're supposed to be in love. They're supposed to love one another, I feel like what we do now is, if love was like a car, okay, again, the car analogy, I'm sticking with that analogy, so follow me. So, in this analogy, love is the car, all right? So, you and I, we're in love, and we're in this car. Now, we want our love to grow. So say our growth is going to California. Love is the car. Our direction for growth is California. What we do is we get in this car together, love, this relationship, love, the car is love, and we're going to California. Well, what happens is that as we're in this car, in our love, in our relationship, going to California, we wreck. and I blame you because you're driving. You blame me because I'm arguing at you about your driving of our love. Okay, we get back on the road, we wreck again, and we're arguing again. You know, our love is not working, so we switch. Now I'm driving, and I wreck. Now we're arguing again, and we're not getting to California. We're not getting to that progression we expect from one another. And eventually we wreck our car, our love, and instead of repairing it, we both just leave the car, leave love, and go get into a car or go and get into love with someone else and do it all over again. Now, the point about that is that the car is supposed to be love, and we've wrecked several times, but we blame one another. Not at one time did either of us learn how to drive. We didn't learn how to repair the car. We didn't learn how to drive the car. We didn't learn how to identify what was failing us in our car, our love. And this is what we do with one another, is we fail to understand how to deal with love, how to receive it, how to give it, how to heal it, how to repair it. And we just blame the other person and we go and find somebody else and recycle this whole system. That's how I feel about love. But I would like your thoughts on it. I was just trying to give an explanation. But if it came down to the nuts and bolts for me, what is love? I would say in the nuts and bolts of it, the simplicity, the basic level of the explanation of love for me. What is love? It starts with love is a choice. Period. Love is a choice. Everything else comes from that choice. Good, bad, indifferent, but it starts with a choice. Love is a choice. Period. That's how I feel. But anyway, hey, thanks for checking out my video. We're going to get into it more, but I would like for you to share your thoughts and share your thoughts on what you think love is and how you would define it. If you had to define it and call it something, so it could be measured and identified by other people, you know, not just the byproduct of it, not just what it produces, but love in itself, essentially. I'd like for you to share your thoughts on that. What is love? And we're going to get into this. We're going to talk more about it. Got a lot more to say about this one. But hey, thanks for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. Let's do this again. All right, talk to you later.